to With the Bradley Family. I'm your host, Brother Sean Brumfield, and Brother Ryan Brown's here with me.
Hey, everybody.
Sister Alyssa's with us.
Hello.
Sister Becca.
Hello.
And then we got Brother David Bradley and Sister Darla Bradley.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
It's good to be here.
It's been a wonderful conversation thus far. if only we had like a pre-recording of the conversations we had in between recordings.
Outtakes.
Yeah.
What was it? Brother Jared said that we need to post like bloopers.
Yeah. You could keep people busy with that in any pre-recording that you do to get yourself hyped up for the next part of the recording.
Yeah. So so people out there, get an idea of how do we get I don't want to say in the zone because I don't think we're ever really in the zone.
No.
But to get warmed up, we sit around and talk for probably 15, 20 minutes just to kind of get loosened up.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we said it in the first episode that Brother Bradley doesn't even know or he does now, but he didn't know the name of the podcast when we first interviewed. So he
didn't even know our names.
That just tells you that he's never listened to our podcast before. So just to give you an idea, if you ever do decide to try to look it up and listen to anything, we're the podcast of ADD. That's what I always say. We're all over the place. So
sometimes we talk about Bigfoot then we'll go to the giants and the Bible and all this craziness. You just never know what's going to happen on the show.
Now he's saying, I wish I never agreed to this interview.
Then you go from there and you're talking about Whoppers and sandwiches and it all goes back to food. That's one of our big tribes. Yeah.
Pentecostal people and food. It's big deal.
Food means fellowship, right?
That's right. There you go.
What one man said.
Yeah.
Good conversations is always surrounded in some sort of food.
Yeah. It tends to be that way anyway.
Breaking bread, that's what we're doing.
Actually, that was kind of the discussion that got started before we ever started recording is we had Sister Bradley was asked, have you ever been to Skyline?
Yes.
We won't get into that debate.
The Skyline Gold Star debate.
Yeah. Now she's from Indiana, so we won't hold it against her that she chose Gold Star.
We don't have Gold Star in Indiana. Not that I know of. We have one Skyline in Greenwood.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's not a popular thing.
No.
Well,
We have
Cincinnati chili.
Gold Star
Yeah.
has the best cheeseburgers
and chili cheese fries.
And
Oh,
milkshakes.
Which one was that?
Gold Star.
Gold Star.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They have
I like Gold Star.
called Heavenly
Better.
Sauce.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so good.
That's some good stuff.
No, we have a couple steak and shakes, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So you can start an all-out war on just
Oh, yeah.
Skyline and Gold Star.
Oh.
Because it
Especially
tends to
around
be...
Better watch what I'm saying.
No.
I done got X'd out of half the holiness movement by coming on this
We're not
podcast. It's not preaching. This
We
ain't helping
set
me.
you up.
It's one of those deals that you hardly ever find somebody that says that they like both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Cincinnati chili. It's either one or the other.
Gotcha.
And if you like the one, you can't stand the other.
Okay.
So I eat both of them. I can do fine with either one.
I eat
really.
both, but
I
I
know
eat
the
different
difference. You could
things.
tell the
Yes.
difference in
Agreed.
the taste, but I can eat both of them.
I eat different
not
things
complain.
at different.
Yeah.
If I do a three-way, I want Skyline.
Yeah.
But if I do chili cheese fries, I want Gold Star.
Yeah. Or cheeseburger.
It's
Yeah.
cinnamon, though. That's what Gold Star has more cinnamon in theirs, I think. In the
I think
sauce.
I think the difference is cinnamon versus chocolate. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
As
I think
far as-
Skyline
Yeah.
has
Skyline
just
has
cinnamon.
cocoa
I
in
think
there.
They have
Gold
chocolate?
Star does
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yes.
Really?
Cinnamon in the chili is what
Yeah.
she's meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the
Yeah,
sauce.
one uses chocolate in their
Nuh-uh.
chili, and the other
Yes.
uses cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my phone?
That's Cincinnati chili.
Got to use the goog here for him.
That-
It's true.
Oh,
Because
don't call
sometimes
that.
you'll eat Gold Star and it has a little more cinnamon than normal, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had heard the cinnamon. I've never heard that either of them put chocolate in it.
That's
Hmm.
what makes it stand out as Cincinnati chili.
Okay.
But it's not really Cincinnati
She don't
chili.
believe
It's,
it.
it's
She's
from
not
Sure,
believing
Mike.
it.
Sure.
it was created by some Greek people, so it's not technically Cincinnati chili.
Well, he was
he
was
made it
Greek,
here.
but he
Yeah.
was here when he made it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't have any service over here in this building.
No, this
I do
building
either.
is like a dead building when it comes to service. So my brother-in-law is a Texan, and when you talk about chili to a Texan, you know it's a big hearty thing of
It's
meat
a pot of chili.
Yeah.
and bean and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So the first time I ever come here, we take him, or he goes to Skyline Chili because that's like a thing here, you know. And he was told you can't eat Skyline Chili in a bowl. You got to get it out of your head. Chili at Skyline Chili is not Texas chili.
It's a
Right.
sauce.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
sauce.
Yes.
It's literally Cincinnati style chili.
Right.
Okay.
So the first thing he does is he orders a bowl of chili,
Yeah.
and now he, you know.
So here's the difference. So Gold Star, the flavor profile described according to Google, is having a more regular chili flavor with a focus on meat and less prominent cinnamon clove taste compared to Skyline, which is more unique, sweet, savory. So, and it has cinnamon and chocolate.
That is so weird.
That's probably why I prefer the Gold Star over the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it could be.
Weird.
I like them both, but
Yeah,
you
I'll
can't
eat
tell a
both
big
of them.
difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, you can't go in thinking, oh, this is going to be the best bowl of chili in my
Yeah.
life. I'm going to tell you what, it is not going to be the best bowl of chili you ever have. Like,
No, not by
it's,
itself.
It's like a coney sauce. You know,
Yeah.
it's something that
I mean, I could eat it
extra
by,
to put
by
in
itself because I've eat it, but like if I'm gonna just order a bowl
Nah.
of chili,
there. Nah,
I'm not going to
give me
Skyline.
Texas chili. If give me some spice and some peppers and tomatoes and stuff in it. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
So when we ended the last episode, we talked about how Sister Darla that you have a wonderful testimony, and you kind of mentioned some of that in your testimony during the homecoming. You talked about being healed from cancer and
Yes.
stuff to that nature.
Yes.
Do you mind kind of giving your testimony
no.
here?
So when Emily she was probably barely walking, starting to crawl, maybe under the age of 2. I went into the doctor just for routine checkup, just, like normal. And when it was probably the next day. Yeah, it was the next day. I got a phone call. And when I picked the phone up, it was just me and the girls home at the time. And I knew something was wrong on the phone just by her voice when she said, is this Miss Bradley? And I said, yeah. So I made sure, the girls were okay. I stepped in the back bedroom and she said, we don't normally tell this over the phone, but she said, when we got your numbers back, she said they were off the chart. She said they weren't even reading, like they were off the chart. And she said,
Wow.
we have no doubt in our mind that you have cancer. Like she told me that over the phone. And I just remember like my heart sank,
Yeah.
because Emily was just so little and Lily was still little, 3-4 years old. And I'm thinking, I have cancer, immediately when you hear those words, like you go to like, I'm not going to make it.
Worst case scenario.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what, and that's where I went. And so she said, we want you back right away. She's like, we want you in here as soon as possible because we want to do further testing. And so I remember hanging up the phone and I called him. He was at work and I said, the nurse at the doctor's office just called me and said that I have cancer, that my numbers were off the chart. Like it was not even normal. And he said, do you want me to come home? And I said, no, I'm fine right now. I'm fine. I felt fine when I went to the doctor. It was just checkup. And so I said, just save your days. I said, because I don't know what's to come and we're going to need that time. So don't waste any time coming home right now. And so I remember he got home and I was like, I just want to go to church and get prayed for. Like because, I'm just distraught. And so I say and so a lot. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It's like a comfort thing, I guess.
We can take care of that. Don't worry about it.
So anyway, we went to church. I got prayed for. I didn't feel anything like major, lightning bolts, anything like that. Like some people feel a healing, right away. And so we got ready to go for the checkup. He had went into work early. That his work where he worked let him go in early and get off early. So he went. What time did you say you went in?
So I was working, most of the time I was working 12s because I talked to them. They only made me work 8 that day. And
Yeah.
so I had to be there at 4. So I got up probably about 2 that morning.
Yeah, and he said, I'll meet
But-
you over at the doctor.
Many nights after that, well, not too many because they made us come in pretty quickly, but there
Yeah.
wasn't much sleep going on. She
Yeah.
was pretty
Yeah, it was like
worried.
the
was
time
worried.
they got me, it was probably like a week between when she had called me and I was not sleeping at all. And he went into work early, was going to get off, and he said, I'll meet you over at the doctor's office. And so that morning he got up and got down and went to his prayer spot. And when he knelt down, he said that the Holy Ghost spoke to him that all is well. And when he went in to see me, to tell me that morning, he said I was asleep. And so he's
Yeah.
like, I didn't even wake you. He's like, because you hadn't been sleeping. He said, and this morning you actually were sleeping. So he went to work, met me over there. They did testing. They did several tests on me. They called me back and said,
So you called me on the way.
That's right. I'm going to forget stuff. Sorry. But I called him on the way to the doctor's office when he was meeting me over there. And I was like, I'm nervous. I'm headed over there. And he's like, I just want to tell you, he's like, this morning, Holy Ghost spoke to me and told me that all is well. In my mind, I'm thinking he's going to see, the Lord's going to see me through it.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. I'm not thinking like I don't have it, And he's like, no, you're not understanding me. They're not going to find anything. So I went in there, they ran the test, and they called me back and said, Miss Bradley, we don't know what happened, but we can't find anything.
Wow.
And your numbers are normal, like
Praise the Lord.
average. He's like, we can't find anything. So, and then I've been in, they had to see me every 6 months for the first year and a half. They never have been able to find anything ever again. And then I had to go back after that, in a year. They wanted to see me yearly, and they still can't find anything.
We've
Praise
had
the Lord.
several healings of cancer in our church. I was telling you some about that. There was a young couple that started coming, and her name, I feel like they wouldn't care if I share this, but her name was Sister Hannah Groves, and long story short, she had cancer, and they had went in and to do a test, and they knew that she had it. Do you know where it was? It was somewhere, I think, on her stomach or on her stomach area or something. So long story short, they went in
On
there,
her side.
and it was on her side or wherever it was. I may not have that all correct, but they went in there, and when that doctor got in there and her husband was with her, and that doctor began to roll that thing around to try to find that cancer where they knew that it was. And after a while of that doctor rolling that, it dawned on Brother Kyle, her husband, that something had happened. And he finally he jumped up and he said, "You can't find it, can you, doctor?"
Wow.
And so
Find it.
that doctor was real quiet and wouldn't say much, and almost like, "I'm going to find it. It's here. We're just not seeing it." And he kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And finally, Brother Kyle was like, "It ain't there. God's
Yeah.
touched
Wow.
her.
Wow.
God's touched her." Yeah. There's many, many others. We had a brother. It was in his name was Frank Oliver, and he was I would say he was in his late 60s, maybe 70s. And he had got cancer in his lungs, and it went also into his intestines. And the doctor told him, said, "You have 2 months at the most. And if you have anything to make right, make it right." And so he come and he got prayed for at our church, and God healed him. And he went back in there, and he lived to be, I want to say, be 93 or 94 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he would stand up and he would shout when the Lord would move on him at 90 some years old. He'd say, "If I could bottle this up, I'd give it to everybody." But he would tell all the time, he'd say, "They gave me 2 months to
Yeah.
live, And he said, every time I go in there, he said, I think that doctor thinks he's looking at a ghost. Never forget him saying that. But
Yeah.
he lived a great life, lived a long life.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, we just had a lady, and we were telling you before that we had a great revival with Brother John Cordell.
Mhm.
And she had, it was very significant that it was in her body. I mean, it was taken over.
Yeah.
And we don't want to get into all the crazy details and all that, but she was to the point where she was just like, I can't do this.
Can't do it
You know,
anymore.
so she made the decision not to pursue it. And I don't even remember what Brother Cordell preached on, but
I have no idea
whatever
on
it was,
that night.
it was just so powerful and pulling. And she just came up and got prayer. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a crazy prayer. I mean, I don't even remember it.
Well, it's like how you said you didn't feel lightning or anything like
Yeah.
that. That's how this was. It
And
wasn't.
she'd already started talking to you about her funeral.
Oh yeah,
plans.
she had already made her.
Like, it
her
was that
arrangements.
bad.
Like she told me who she wanted to preach and all that
And the
stuff.
chemo was making her
She
so sick.
she quit the chemo.
Wow.
By that time, I mean, from the way that they talked, it wouldn't have been a year.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Like,
because it was
Pretty quick.
it was just that point.
Yeah.
And we anointed and prayed for her. And I wish it's really amazing because a lot of times people think when God's trying to move, you have to take off shouting and you
Yeah.
have to do all
Yeah.
that.
mhm.
But really, most of the time when you hear people talk about how God begins to do those things, there's times where you shout and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and you see it in that. But most of the time,
Yeah.
it's just that
Mhm.
you just know that God done
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I remember, obviously down the road, me and Brother Ryan were discussing stuff that was already happening in the church that, or not so much in the church, but in our personal lives that may have been a little bit discouraging, just kind of talking about life. And he said, you know what, brother? He said, I've been trying to save this so we could share this at church. He said, but that the sister so-and-so, she just called me and said that the Lord had healed her of that cancer. They couldn't find anything in those
Mhm.
tests.
Yeah.
And it's like the Lord knows just when to do it.
Yeah,
and
he
not
does.
only
Yeah.
does it help that person in need, but it helps everybody around. That
Oh, yeah.
encouragement,
Encourage
knowing
your
that,
faith.
Yeah.
that our God is still moving, He's still faithful, and He's all powerful, and that He can do this kind of thing. I just think it's just
And
And
So
now her
it's awesome.
husband.
yeah, her husband got saved the night after.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was on his deathbed. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know
He
the
was
sickness.
he's been pretty sick,
He
and he even
was
came in through
really
this
bad.
homecoming,
Yeah.
barely able to walk and all that stuff, and
yeah.
in a lot of pain. And he came in service. I believe it was Tuesday night because we had the prayer service on Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. Wednesday, Thursday. It was one of those two nights. Weeks in that kind of they all merge together sometimes, but I know that he left out of here the night before, and he told me how much pain he was in and all that stuff, and he wanted to have prayer. Well, I didn't know he was in that much pain on that service, or we would have had prayer then,
Yeah.
but it kind of just worked out how it did because that service in particular, man, the Lord just really
Mm-hmm.
in our homecoming just really took off in that prayer service there.
Yes.
And we went to him and we anointed and prayed for him. And at the end of the service, I went up to him and I asked him, and this is what he said. I said, Brother Larry, how do you feel? And he said, I don't. And at first I was like, well, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Like, what do you mean you don't feel? He said, I don't.
Take it away, Lord. And,
And-
He took
and
his feeling away.
And I think you seen the confusion on my face because I kind of just gave him this little puzzled look, and he said, I have no more pain.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
I think that
and
was Wednesday. Wasn't
That was
it?
Wednesday.
This past
And I didn't
Wednesday?
even notice it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Wednesday. It was actually Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Thursday because we had the fellowship meeting, the fellowship on Friday,
Yeah.
and I didn't notice it, but he came in without a cane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking straight.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him walking without a cane.
Yeah.
He got saved in March, and
Yeah.
he's been on a cane even before then.
Mhm. And very feeble.
Very
Yeah.
feeble.
I mean, he'd only be able to attend one
Yeah.
or two services.
Didn't he say he
a
drove
month.
in Friday or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was the first time he drove
And,
in
and
like 3
he
months.
was
3
he drove. He came in so excited,
Yeah.
that he
It's like-
came in flying into the parking
Yeah.
lot, and I was like, "Who in the world's that? We got to go yell at that guy. There's kids out here." And Ryan's like, "No, let's not do that. He's feeling his Cheerios, you know. Let him go."
It was something. It was like he turned that e-brake on and hit the gas and just whipped that bad boy right into the parking space, you know. But he hasn't been on the cane all week long.
Yeah.
And what I love the most about him is what people don't know about Brother Larry was, I've talked to him years, you know, and you don't really see like the smile and all that stuff. He's always been very cordial, very friendly, always treated me good. And I think, you know, he felt the love of God and all that stuff through all of that time. But man, when he got saved, he comes in, he's got a smile that just lights up. And this week, especially after God touched him, this week he's all
He's just
smiles.
all
Yeah,
smiles.
his whole demeanor seemed like it changed.
Yeah.
He was in probably a lot of pain.
Yeah.
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 And
Well,
old
listen.
timers won't tell you about
No,
it.
they don't. And
He
he's
said-
a worker. He's one that's always worked, always does all his own stuff and everything like that. So
Alyssa, you told me even growing up.
Growing up, he was he was always very nice, but he was a very hard man, like
Very
motorcycle,
solemn.
yeah,
very,
Yeah.
very solemn,
that's
kind of
where
guy.
that's where my dad got in on that Black Sabbath comment.
Oh,
I
when
was
he
not
said no more.
understanding where he was going.
That's
Why he
because
got
that's what he
that.
listened to.
Oh,
He was when you talk about like the motorcycle and stuff. He was. So,
I didn't
you know.
understand it either
I was
till
like,
now.
oh,
Now I
really?
get it.
Yeah, Black
Lost-
Sabbath was a pretty hard.
I thought he was just
Lost
making
half the
like
crowd.
Yeah.
I thought he was just making a
We'll-
point.
We'll speak to the side that wasn't always in church over here.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath was a very hard
No,
rock
I
group.
know, but I just didn't know why he was making that reference.
because he said no more Black Sabbath, now Holy
Okay.
Sabbath.
Holy Seven. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's why he
Makes
kept
sense
saying
when
it.
you explain
A lot of people said that, which was really funny because the next service, I think Brother Limey got up and he said, "I used to listen to Ozzy."
He did.
I was like, well, I guess somebody's got to hear this message. So to have that testimony of cancer, I know a lot of people do that. And then I know you also testified about you being told that you didn't think that you'd be able to have children. And
Yeah, we didn't think we would have any children. We first got married, most young couples want to have a family and have children. And we'd been married several years and we'd just never been blessed with children. And then I remember one day finding out that we were going to have one. And I was so excited because we had already waited several years. Most couples, because there were several couples the year we got married and they already had families, and we didn't have anything, and I was just, getting down and heartbroken, because I really wanted to be a mother. And we found out we were going to have one. And it wasn't probably maybe like 2 months later, we lost that child and I was devastated. I mean, it broke my heart. You go through different heartaches through the years, growing up and stuff, but there was not a heartache that I felt like losing that child. And I just remember thinking, Lord, I didn't even get to see that child. I didn't get to hold it. I didn't get to, name it, anything. And that night, I remember one night the Lord gave me a dream of that child. And I have no doubt in my mind that it was from him, seeing that child in heaven. Because I was like, where does that, in my mind, like, I wanted to see it. And he let me know, not only in that dream, like seeing that child, but that I would see that child again, when I got to heaven.
Yeah.
I'll get to meet that child. And I remember in that dream at the time, thinking she looked just how Lily did when Lily finally came along. And so I held on to that, and then a span of time went by. I'm thinking, that was just a little hope, and then starts going by and there was no child. So then I started to get really discouraged again. And we were youth leaders at the time, and we were at Elizabethtown camp. And it was towards the middle of the week. I think it was on a Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And they said, there's 2 couples here and they give specific things for each couple. And if they come, the Lord's going to move for them in that. And one of the things was a child. And I'm telling you, I don't think I ran faster in
I'll
my
say this.
life.
I'll chime in here. So just to show you who's more spiritual, she
No.
ran up front and I was hiding in the back. Like, please
I
don't look
wanted
at
a
me.
child. Like I was, I wanted a child. So, and it was at the time it was in that sanctuary they had there. So it was tight. It was, services and evening services were packed. So I did have to work really hard to make it up there, but I did. And he, a brother from Kentucky, he was down there and he prayed for us and the Lord spoke to us and he said, by this time next year, you'll have one. I was on the moon, I was like overjoyed that the Lord was going to move for us in that way. And so we left and our spirits were high. And as the year went on, still nothing, no child. And I began to get discouraged again. And we was at our home church.
I'm actually glad this come up because I missed the key thing to say while I was preaching about this the other night. You're going to tell it though.
We were at our home church and it was probably like 2 months around that time before E-Town was going to be coming around again. So we was there. I was discouraged, and I had been because more couples in the church were having families. And this brother come and he said, "Sister, I feel like if you come out, you stand on His word." He said the Lord's going to move, just to stand on His promises. So then, I was,
Yeah, let me say this. So the first brother that came, he said, I meant to say this the other night.
Okay, so I got
The
him
first
backwards.
brother that came, he said that the promise had been delayed, but it's still on the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had him backwards, but that brother come and said, he told me that the promise was delayed, but still on the way. And then like, it was probably maybe a week or so, maybe more, or maybe less than that time
Just
sometimes.
next service.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Another brother come by and said, he called me out and said to stand on His word that, we would see the promises of the Lord. And so, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting, still waiting, time's still rolling by. It was like maybe a few weeks before E-Town, we found out we were going to have Lily.
Wow.
And I remember going to E-Town. It wasn't how I expected. Sometimes in our mind, when the Lord speaks to us, we think it's going to be a certain way, like how
Yeah.
we want it to be, you know. And in my mind, I thought when I went there, I was going to have her with me,
Mhm.
and she was in a way, but but I remember going down there and we was expecting Lily.
Wow.
That's a wonderful thing. It's beautiful how God works in our lives in that way. So now you guys are full-time 3 years.
Yep.
And you said that you come from a little country church, right? So you didn't really know anybody.
No.
And you guys have all that God has already done for you and all that stuff. So when you finally decided, because you said you were kind of giving the Lord a hard way to go. So when you finally decided,
He was giving me one too.
yeah. So when you finally decided to take hold of what He was calling you to do, how did that line out for you? Being from that country church and all that stuff, how did all that play?
So I was very concerned because here I was quitting a full-time job. My parents aren't saved. And so another amazing story, I guess I kind of get into this, but I don't want to take too much time here.
No,
but
you're all right.
So I finally, went in, talked to my job and just told them, I give them like a month advance. I'd been there 15 years. I was going to be quitting. And so they were very actually sad that I was quitting, which surprised me because it seemed like, some places don't really care about anybody or anything.
Yeah.
But when I quit, it was either the day I was quit. I think it was the day I was my last day. The president of the company actually came out there and he said, I heard you was quitting me. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, what is the job that you are getting that is so much better than what we're offering here? He's like, I've always worked with you. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to be a full-time evangelist. And he dropped his head and he said, I'm not even going to try to stop you. He said, I was going to offer you this position, which I already always wanted
Yeah.
when I was there, and more money. And I did. He said, but he goes, you go do what God's wanting you to do. Something amazed me too is he told me if I ever needed just a week of work,
Yeah, when
To
we were
come.
in town. Yeah.
he's like, if you're
Wow.
home in the winter, it's slow, come work. They don't do that there. I'll just
Yeah.
put
No.
it that way. And so, yeah, we stepped out. So my parents trying to explain this to my mom knows more than my dad, but my dad was raised a lot different. He was actually raised up in a Jehovah Witness home. And so he's like kind of like, son, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. You got a great job. You have a home. You got everything going for you. What are you doing? And I was like, I know you don't understand, Dad, but I have to do this. And so we had talked to them. They were actually going to let us move in to, they had 2 extra rooms in their house.
2 spare rooms.
We went down, fixed them all up, got everything painted, cleaned up. And my mama, who lived next door to them, she was gotten in bad shape. And she prayed God would use her tremendous and used her even after this. She was just a great woman. And so here we are, we sell everything. And we're moving into these 2 rooms. We're going to do the best we can with it, and there's just some situations living with sinners,
Yeah.
I love my parents. They were great parents, great providers. I'm not talking, bad about my parents, but there's just some things there that we was very concerned about living there.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And so everything sells. We get, it's perfect time to sell
Yep.
when we go
House and
because
everything.
the housing market did the
Mhm.
crazy jump.
Yeah.
And so our realtor's like, did you guys plan this on purpose?
Yeah.
Like you bought when it was the worst,
Yeah.
which is the best for you.
Yeah.
And then you're selling when it's, the best for you too. And we were like, no, and so long story short, we're 2 weeks, we're moving and there's so many things I could tell you. We needed a building to put our stuff in because it wasn't all going to fit in my parents' house. Moving a house into 2 rooms ain't going to work.
Right.
And so we needed a building. So I call a brother. I probably won't say his name because he probably feel like he'd ruin his blessing. But I called him. I said, hey, I need a 12 by 24 building. I need it like yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And so I hang up the phone with him. And the next morning he
got a
calls
phone
me.
call that night.
He said, brother, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
He said, I had a repo come in for a 12 by 24 building.
Wow.
And he said that, I'm sorry, not a repo,
Yeah,
but a
a
building
guy
I got to
called him,
go
yeah, I
get.
wanted it gone
The guy wanted
ASAP.
it gone ASAP.
Yeah, he's like,
And
I
he
need
said
this
all
gone
he's
now.
wanting is this quarter of what it's worth.
Yes.
And so I was like, I want it.
Yeah, because
he's
it had,
like,
like,
well,
lights
he's like, I
and
could make a lot of
everything.
money on it. He's like, but I felt God to give it to you for what
Oh,
he's
my-
wanting. And so not only did he do that, he brung it to me, delivered it to me for
Set it and
free,
everything.
set it up. And so here we are, 2 weeks. We're moving all of our stuff out into this building and trying to get in these 2 rooms. My mama calls me. And she said, David, I've gotten in bad health. And she says, I've been praying. And she said, I feel like giving you my home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, one man said this. I'll never forget this. He said, if it's God's will, it's God's bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never have forgot that.
Yeah.
And God, now there was some stipulations there. I didn't want to act like it was just all free. We had
Yeah.
gotten money from our house.
Mhm.
I had an uncle, and that's my parents, my mom's inheritance. So I didn't
His
just
uncle,
want
yeah.
to take
Yeah,
everything that's
yeah.
coming to my mother.
Right.
I wanted to do things godly and do it right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there were some stipulations there where I had to give some money, to
For
my
inheritance.
my
Yeah.
uncle. But, you know, in all reality, God give us a home,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah.
It's on
That's
5
amazing.
acres in Brown County,
Oh.
and it is beautiful. I have a pond.
It
I
helps
love to
being-
fish, and
Yeah.
like, so I hope I answered like your
Yeah, it
question.
helps
But that's
being
how
by
we.
family too. So while
So-
we're gone, like they collect the mail
Yeah.
and different things like that.
Right.
While we're gone, being right next door.
The Lord
His
does
mom and
all
dad,
things
yeah.
well.
So as far as how did it come about too is so I was all worried because I'm like, my pastor, he gave me sound advice, and you listen to your pastors if
Yeah.
you're listening. He gave me great advice. He said, I feel like you need to go out on weekends and preach, use your vacation. So I went to my work and was like, you know, hey, I need to do weekends. And I was like, but I got questions for you. If I go to a revival, they're like, don't even probably know what revival is.
Yeah.
And it breaks out and I need this week off. Can I do that? And they're like, absolutely not. Like, you're too important. We've got to get somebody here trained. You can use your vacation till you've run out. And then, you know, it is what it is. So I had to go back to my pastor and explain to him the situation. He knew, though, I had to go full time. And so
Yeah.
we went,
Yeah.
and he was all right with it. We went, and it has blown my mind because I've heard the horror stories, and I'm not trying to act like that we're anything special, but God has completely been with us the whole time. When I stepped out, we were busy. We went full time in June. We were completely booked until September. And then I was sweating bullets because what are we going to do after September? I have nothing, I have nothing,
Yeah, it
Lord.
was
what are
the
we
first
doing
year.
out here?
Yeah.
You're going to leave me. What are you doing? I went to this church in Paducah, Kentucky, and we broke out in a 3-week revival there.
Yeah.
And so I found out why I didn't have anything in September.
Yeah.
And then it just picked back up.
Yeah.
We've stayed busy. I'm not going to act like I'm completely booked, but we have stayed busy. God has had his hand in it. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
So, how do you being full time in the ministry and being a family man? You got the young girls and all that stuff, and it's wonderful that they love. Like I said, I've been watching them this week with my kids, and I don't know if my kids are a good influence or not. Just with some of those
Might be
things,
vice
like I
versa.
said, like honking the horns and all that stuff. But so as you're traveling, I know that you also have to take that time for family.
Oh yeah.
So how do you guys try to adjust for that?
Parks. We love parks. Like it's one of our favorite things to do is like when we're in an area, we'll like research like neat parks and we'll
Yeah.
take them there like on a day off or whatever. And they love it. Like there's been some really neat parks in other states that we've went to.
Mhm.
And like the best part of it, I feel like is like the little town places
Yeah.
like that
The
tourist
hidden
that
gems.
things that are not tourist
Yeah.
stuff, we find like the little restaurants or the little
Yeah.
ice cream
Yeah.
shops
Tell
or
them,
parks.
so out of all there's a little park in Missouri. We was preaching at a church in Missouri.
Yeah,
and
it's
the-
actually like it's
the
a state
pastor
park.
wanted to take us to this park. And so it's kind of just a neat little park, but tell them.
It's called Elephant Rock State Park, and it's actually a huge granite rocks, like
Wow.
as big as a house. Like you're gonna find a rock out there as big as a house.
Hmm.
And the history of it is really neat of that park. But there's actually when you walk through the park, it's a state park, so it's large. But there is a spot where there's a rock and a waterfall, but it looks like an elephant.
Huh.
It's really neat. But
Yeah.
there's
Wow.
that, and there was other like little neat things about
Yeah,
the
so
park,
it's
like
kind of
granite. So the monuments, that was the other thing
which
about
we
it.
actually met you all at
Yeah, Calvin.
Yeah.
Lake.
Cowan Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's the stuff we
Yeah.
love. Like,
Like
Yeah.
they look
Yeah,
like
and that's
holiness
what we
people.
yeah,
Yeah, it was actually really neat because you guys were preaching for Clarksville, I believe, at that time.
May have been. I
So-
don't even
somewhere-
remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere
in
you
there.
had-
In the area,
well, I know you
yeah.
had some people from Clarksville that was camping,
Okay.
and you came
Yeah.
over there, and it was just weird how it all worked out because you guys just kind of come around with him.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, we're all hanging out.
Yeah,
for
I
like
think the
that whole
kids
day.
even played that day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, they played
were-
in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I said, "Them some holiness people over there," and the little we know they were saying, "That looks like some
Yeah.
holiness
Yeah.
kids."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was neat.
So
You can always tell. You can just. Well, obviously there's some definite signs, but I mean, also there's other groups of people that are.
I hope it's that
Kinda
we're
like
happy.
that.
Is what I
Yeah,
really
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, obviously there's apostolics and stuff. And I have like a lot of the same dress, but
Yeah.
you can tell a big difference
Oh, yeah.
between them. and
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw something out here at this. So I was started to say a little bit in my preaching the other night about my youngest girl is a morning person, and so
That she is.
we heard a little story here earlier. You want to share? You want to share any of that one or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead. The with Ben and Becca.
Oh.
Oh, he's going
I was
there.
like, we already
Is that all
recorded
right to
this.
share that one?
Yeah.
All right.
So at the time, Brother Ryan was traveling for his work, I believe was it Oklahoma?
Yeah, I was
he'd,
working.
He'd go for 2 weeks and he'd stay and then he'd come home for 2 weeks. Well, at this point, Benjamin was 3,
He was
4.
3. He wasn't 4. He was
was-
3, and the twins were less than. I would say they
They-
were about a year old.
Yeah, they were
old
still-
enough to take steps because I remember watching the
Right.
twins take their first steps on Skype.
So they weren't walking yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one random Friday night, a bunch of us young girls decided we're going to go stay over at Sister Becca's.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over there and I was going to stay with Miranda because there were so many girls there. And it's late at night and Sister Becca, 9-10 o'clock hits. She's gone. I mean, you can be talking to her and she's fading.
Not me.
Just
Yeah.
just as a side note, we have had many as youth pastors and pastors. We have had many group outings at our house. And we have had, in fact, Brother Carlos and Sister Regina, there are times where they stay just to see how long they can try to make Sister. They can
It's
try to make
like Becca goes
stay
in
awake.
stages, like she sits on the couch and then she tucks her feet up.
How did this become
And,
about
and then
me?
she'll put her
That's why we
hand
bonded
up.
so quickly.
She can fall asleep and there could be 20 people in the house and she can get to that point and when she's done she's out.
So Emily, our oldest, she's if she's done, or our youngest. I mean,
Yeah.
she's done when it comes to going to sleep. But she's a very good morning person.
So Sister Becca, we were all sitting around talking. It was pretty late. She had laid on the floor and just passed out.
I think I started sitting on the floor because I always.
You might have sat on the floor, but you were laying on the floor and you were gone. And side note, no one had warned me about when Becca was sleeping.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, she tried to get us to record this on the floor. So
I
she'd
did.
been-
Yeah, she
Sitting
likes
on
to
the
sit in
floor
the
is
floor.
so much more comfortable.
So I had been, and he had fallen asleep on me. And some of the other girls had, Caden and Kennedy, but I didn't know, does she want me to put him in his bed? Does she want him in her bed? Because Ryan's not here, so she can get to him in case something happens. And I'm holding Ben, trying not to wake him up. And I'm like, hey, Becca, Sister Becca, nothing. 10, 15 minutes. What? and Sister Becca's she's not like that. She's always very nice. I had never heard that before. I'm like, oh, she's so mad at me. I said, where do you want me to put Ben? Nothing. Another few minutes. I said, Becca, where do you want me to put Ben? I have to leave. And she finally went, I don't care where you put him. And fell asleep back on the floor. And I'm like, oh, she is so mad at me.
my
So I
word.
think I ended up putting him in your bed or somewhere. And the next morning I went to her and I said, Sister Becca, I'm so sorry. She goes, what are you talking about? I said, you were mad. I was trying to figure out where to put Ben and you just yelled at me. And she went, no, I didn't. And no one had warned me that whenever Becca is asleep and you try to talk to her, she's not very nice and she doesn't remember it.
At least she doesn't throw punches.
No, she does.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well,
my
never mind.
word.
Yeah.
she does.
Because
Next subject, please.
wasn't it? Hold on, I got one more. Wasn't it whenever you guys first got
Oh,
married,
yeah.
Becca would fall asleep like
At my mom and dad's
at your
house,
mom and dad's,
on the
and they
couch.
would be like, Ryan, wake up, Becca. We're not doing
Yeah,
it.
well, that's because, okay, so we were dating I think. This was like right before we got married, and she fell asleep at my mom and dad's house. And I knew
Oh my word.
that if she fell asleep, that you have to kind of be abrupt with her because she doesn't like wake up. And so she fell asleep on the couch. I had to get her back home. And so I'm kind of abrupt with her. And my mom, like, she lets me have it, because you don't treat a lady that way.
I think we were
you know?
married by then.
Maybe we were married, but I said, Mom, you don't understand. I said, she don't wake up. So I went and I was like, Becca, you got to get up. And I was kind of abrupt. And she came up, buddy, with that right fist, and she comes swinging.
Nice.
And I had to dodge it. And
I did not punch you.
No, you didn't punch me, but you came up swinging. You didn't hit me, but you
Okay,
were
next
swinging. But listen,
subject.
what's funny now is to this day, if she falls asleep at my mom and dad's, I'll say, hey, Mom, go wake Becca up. She said, oh, no, I'm not waking. I'm not waking her up.
I wouldn't say that I'm a morning person, but I have no issues with getting up. Like if the alarm clock's up,
Mhm.
going off, I'm up. But now,
I'm not.
why? Just go ahead. You tell them. You tell them that story you told me the other day.
We first got married.
Yeah, about whenever I was just telling you to get up.
Yeah, we first got married, and I just remember we were living in this little house, and he woke up. I think it was even a Saturday. He woke up. We worked third shift
It
anyway.
was probably early too, just to be honest. I'm usually
And-
always up by 7.
Yeah, and so he wakes
The
up, and
latest.
when he wakes up, he's ready to go, like start the day and do something. And I'm not. I need like a good maybe
Coffee. Oh,
hour,
Session.
an hour. At the time, I don't even think I drank coffee, but I need like a good hour to wake up, like fully. He like flips the lights on, all the lights, and is like, "Wake up!" And I'm like, "No," like shut the lights off. I was not happy at all. I just remember being super grumpy. He's like, "Get up," and I'm like, "No." He didn't wake me up like that. Again, he was very like, "It's time to get up."
What about y'all? Are y'all morning people at all?
No, I'm not. I'm a night owl. I can stay up till the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Now, my wife, on the other hand, when we first got married, she was like you. She'd get up, crack of dawn, ready to go. She would get up and be like inches from my face,
Just waiting for him to like.
And she
blink
would
or
just, like,
something.
blow in my face. And if she's seen a crack out of my eye, she'd get up. She goes, "It's time to get up." And I would just be like, "You need to go back to bed," and just roll over. Yeah, I'm like, sometimes it's like, if it's really early, I don't want nobody to talk to me, nobody to touch me, nobody to any of that. She was like, she'll get up, and I've shared this with you guys. She will like, as soon as she gets up, she starts vacuuming, doing the laundry. and-
I'm ready to get stuff done whenever
So-
I wake
Yeah.
up.
Well, so like
Like Tim.
Thursday mornings is our like bed clothes day that we like clean off all our bed sheets and stuff. And I woke up
clothes.
in the middle of the morning. She had already stole my comforter.
I made sure he wasn't using it. He was snuggled up against it. And I was like, oh, he's
I
not
was-
going to miss this. And
Yeah,
I just
but here's the thing.
Oh, you needed that?
She gets up and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I want to use that now because now I
didn't wanna
realize
use
I'm
it earlier?
cold. It's time to use it. And so I'm just like up underneath my blanket, just like freezing to death.
So
Yeah.
Becca will get up early. I am a night owl, but I can get up early
Can
if
we
I have
talk
to get
about
up early.
someone
I'm more of
else?
a I'm kind of, you can ask Brother Sean because he lived with us for like, what, 6 months or whatever?
I think it was like,
Like 2 or 3.
Or 2 or 3. It felt like 6.
Ouch.
No, but no, I'm just kidding. But I'm kind of like an insomniac. You know, I run off of 4 hours sleep
That's
most of
him.
the time.
Me
That's
too,
just
yeah.
where I'm at. And Becca she'll fall asleep, and she does get up early. Most of the time, she's up at like 7 o'clock. It's pretty typical.
but
for
I don't
her.
want to talk to anybody.
But she don't talk to her. Now, see, I'm one of those people that I can get up and I can have full blown conversations. You know,
Mm.
when we first got married,
He will call you at Saturday morning at 7:30 if he's got something to talk to you about.
I have.
I want to make sure
Yeah.
I block you for a little while.
Only
Says I don't have no trouble getting up, but I'm not like
Yeah.
I'd rather not just
For the
Just leave me
most part,
alone
I
for a
don't. But
while.
I'm one of those ones. If I get something stuck in my mind, I don't even think about things, and I'm just like, okay, let's get it taken care of. Right?
Like, oh, sorry, it's 5 in the
Yeah,
morning.
kind of like washing a comforter when somebody's still sleeping.
And
with
you'll-
it.
But he'll give you like a 35-minute like conversation. Like I'm still laying in bed. And he's like, "Did I wake you up?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter now." You know?
but she's one. It's like, don't talk to me. We're not going to have conversation. So when we first got married, I'm not used to that. I'm just, I do my thing. So I think the first week I wake up and I'm like, I don't know why, but she's up already and I'm getting up and stirring and I'm singing. Like I just have a
You
song
were
in my mind.
whistling.
Was I whistling?
Oh,
Well, that's even
whistling.
worse.
No, I don't think I was
Look at
whistling.
Darla's
I think I was
face.
I
singing,
can
yeah.
see why
Yeah.
She would
it was
kill
just
me.
whatever she did was
Like-
justified.
Like she legit was like, that's enough.
I'm pretty sure I said stop.
Yeah.
What
She
the two?
won't ever use the term shut up. But I think on that day she
was
really
close.
wanted to throw that out at me. But here's a funny story. I will tell this. So in 2006, it's kind of when the economy kind of crashes for a little while. Or was it?
That was 2008.
2008. We got married in 2006. 2008, the economy crashes and I
Yeah.
lose my job.
Yeah.
And just to kind of paint a picture, like I was a project engineer. I was working in construction, all that stuff. I wasn't making at that time. It wasn't like it was a ton of money, but it was the most money I've ever made in my life at that time. And when I got laid off, you couldn't find a job anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I found like a $10 oil change job that I applied for just because I wanted income. I got tired of being on unemployment. And there was like 300 applicants for that one job. That's how hard it was to find a job at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So she was working at the bank in our town at this particular time in our marriage. She was like the town mayor. Everybody knew her. I was raised in this town where we
It's
live
like
at now.
Mayberry.
She worked
everybody
there
knows
for 6
everybody.
months and she's like, hey, there's so and so. I've never seen them a day before in my life. And I've lived in the same town as them for as long as I can remember. But she knows everybody. But I remember this particular day. She'd never done this to me before. But I remember this particular day. She's like, wakes up in the morning. This quiet person, don't talk to me, is turning like radios on. She's flipping all the lights on. She's stomping.
I don't remember this.
She walks hard anyway, but she's like stomping. She's turning. I mean, anything that can make noise, she's making noise. Okay. And I finally,
What did you do to her?
this was what it was. I was laid off, so I didn't have to get up. And that morning,
gotcha.
that morning, it made her, for whatever reason, so mad.
Okay, now I
Gotcha.
remember.
Do you remember now?
She's
It
getting
made
up,
her
you're
so
getting up.
mad that she had to get up and I was still sleeping. So she was doing everything in her power to wake me up
Payback
without
for
her
all them
actually
years
waking
of
up.
what you have been doing.
Yeah.
She got you back.
Oh, my word.
It's funny what you learn.
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't want to talk to nobody. So Alyssa, she'll get up and she'll tell me all her issues that she
Just in
has.
the first hour of waking up, all of my
she's only been up 15, 20 minutes longer than I have. And she's got a world of issues. And one morning, it was just not a good morning. And I put my fingers on her lips and I was like, it's like,
That's awesome.
do not talk to me today.
So imagine you don't like sleep, you like sleep, but you don't like getting up and homeschooling. Yeah.
So I can like last all day or stay up all night, but I have to have at least like 8 hours.
That's me. A
or
good
I'm
solid
going to be
8,
so
9.
mean. So when I was living with Brother Ryan and Sister Becca, like he said, he's an insomniac. We would sit and talk about world issues, church issues.
Like 3 or 4
like,
o'clock
yeah,
in the
we
morning.
We
would
would
come
get
home from church.
He would get home from a date. Like we'd go out and I'd go home and I would text him, hey, are you up? Hey, what are you doing? And I'd call him, nothing. Nothing till the next day. I'm like, he's breaking up with me. We're done. Something is going. He's
What did
moving
I
back to
do?
Columbus. he texted me in the morning. Sorry, I got to talking to Brother Ryan.
We
Was
would
up
be
till 3 or 4
I
in
gotta
the
get up
morning.
at 6. He'd keep me up till 3 or 4, sitting there talking about.
We was
Only-
curing the world,
Yeah,
you know.
only the Lord really knows what was discussed on this. Because like we get to the next day and be like, "What happened last night?"
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Couple hours later, I'm
Okay,
working.
since you guys were telling stories on me, one time when Brother Sean was living with us,
I was about to say, will you
Okay,
tell that
okay,
story? Yeah,
yes.
that's what I wanted
he
to
was.
tell.
You were pretty sick or something.
I
Like that.
think
I
he had
was
COVID
sick.
before
Like,
it
yeah,
came out.
I got
Because it was
sick.
November before
So
it came out.
I got sick right before
Yes.
COVID had become
got
prevalent.
bad.
And
sick.
when he would cough, it would sound like, I don't know, like he was coughing up a person. Like it was horrible. And he was living in the basement. And so he was in the basement, and then there's the main floor, and we were up on our bedrooms were on the second floor. Well, one night he was coughing so hard. And one of the kids, I don't even remember,
it was Brooklyn.
Was it
Yeah,
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
She comes in our bedroom and she's just sobbing.
She is scared to death.
She said, "Mom, there's a monster in the basement." It was Brother Sean coughing. Scared her to death.
And then she said, what'd she say?
She said,
We
she
need
said,
to
"We
pray for him."
He's
Yeah.
going to die." I'll tell you this though. I'm an asthmatic anyways, but that sickness, that like I was scared to go to sleep. Like I
Yeah.
was scared that I was going to die in the night because it was
Yeah.
so bad. And then like you find out a couple like months later that COVID was
COVID
starting to
came out.
hit, and you're like, oh, that's exactly
During
what that was.
COVID, whenever you were allowed to go into grocery stores, like you could finally go in there.
Yeah.
And there would be too many people there because I just, I don't do very many crowds, but we'd go into an aisle and there'd be a lot of people and I'd be like, "Hey, honey, just cough." And he would cough.
Clear it out.
They'd clear it out. I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
So you mentioned homeschooling your kids.
Yes.
I feel like homeschool moms deserve like a medal. of
So
honor.
imagine doing that on the road
I know.
and keeping up with all the.
My parents
everything else, huh?
evangelized, and we homeschooled from the time I was in 4th grade until I went back to public school my junior year of high school. And we loved evangelizing, but homeschooling was a different story. So when Ben was in kindergarten, some things happened. He was in public school, and we were like advocates, like we want them to be, to be in the world, but whatever, have these experiences. And so it was a great small school, but we put him in, and some things happened that we didn't agree with, so we pulled him out. And so I homeschooled him his kindergarten year.
Mhm.
And the twins would do preschool worksheets. And so I thought, oh, this is great.
He started late too. He was 6 when he
Yeah,
went
yeah.
into kindergarten. So
So, so I thought it was going great. We got through kindergarten, and then we had a whole schoolroom set up in the basement, and it was awesome. And so that next school year, when the twins were starting kindergarten, Ben went in 1st grade. It was like, I don't even know what I was doing, but I ended every day in tears. I was like, I thought I was going crazy. Caden was just one, like, he would not do anything. He would, most of the time, I would have to hold my hand over top of his hand to move the pencil with him. Like, he wasn't being mean. He just
didn't wanna do it.
he just was
no interest.
no interest at all. And it was like 2 weeks in, and Ryan came home from work one day, and I was just sobbing, and I'm like, I just can't do it. And I'm like, I'm the worst mom ever, but I want to enroll them in school. And so we took them down and put them in public school.
But at this time, we were in a different school
Yes,
district,
and
than
it
we
was-
were in the other.
It was a good little country school. It was awesome. But I say all that to say, you deserve an honor, an
Oh,
award.
no.
I just feel
Amen.
like homeschool is so hard on parents.
I feel like with homeschool though, it's like an unknown thing, but sometimes you feel a lot of pressure. Like some moms will put a lot of pressure on you to do one curriculum.
yes,
Like it's almost like homeschool bullying. Not
Yes.
really, but like not
Yeah.
really, but you get a lot of pressure. Like I do this homeschool curriculum, and so that's the only one that's good.
Right.
And then another mom's like, I do this homeschool curriculum and this is the only one that's good.
Yes.
Like, and I have found that you just kind of have to put your hands over your ears
Yeah.
or take some from this one and some from this one and find what works for you.
Yeah.
Because with him, it may have just been the curriculum. He may have just needed a different curriculum.
Exactly.
But what I found that works for one may not work for another.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have to do your own. Like you have to do split curriculum where you do
Yeah.
parts of one and parts of another, because you may not like a subject in one curriculum, but you like that subject in another one. So mix it up.
Right.
It doesn't have to be all the same, and it does have to be what everybody uses. I
Yeah.
found that what works for me doesn't work for some other people, and that's fine.
I feel like our kids do pretty good with it, though. Really,
That's
to be
awesome.
They
honest.
really
But I
do.
tell everybody everywhere that if you want to see who does the work with us on the evangelistic field, it's right here. My wife. You can't see me, listeners, me pointing at her,
There is times where I'm
because
like,
all I do is study and pray and get
Yeah.
up to preach, but all the work is really here.
There is a lot of work that goes on the wives,
Yeah.
of, especially in the ministry together. But
Yeah. Not that I
Um,
don't help her ever.
oh
but
no,
right,
you-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you
well,
ask
I
our kids,
understand.
they'll
Yeah.
tell you that dad's the principal.
Yeah, yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
Because obviously when you're preaching revivals, you've got to make sure you have that burden and you're able to
Oh, yeah.
you are
Mhm.
able to have that word from God because you want to be a help to the churches. So you do full time preaching isn't just getting up on the pulpit and
No.
putting the word together. You've got to pray and study, and I mean it's a full time job all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 24/7, 365 days a year, it never ends. But
Something I'll say is kind of funny. I don't know how much longer you want to go here, but something that's kind of funny is we'll be at certain places and wherever, just it's happened multiple times, but people be like, what'd you guys do all day?
Yeah.
Hey, you ever get that?
Sometimes I feel like they're disappointed by the answer.
so
It's like, did you want us to
I
go?
did some
do
laundry
you
and
want
we
us to go to
homeschooled the
park?
kids.
You're like, what'd you want us
He
to
got
do?
that question not too long ago.
we had a couple that was in our house. They came in and they sat down there, was talking to us, and it was kind of later, so I'm sitting in my armchair in my living room and all that stuff, and the wife looked at me and she said,
It was not too long after you went full time.
it was not too long after I went full time pastoring, and I thought, I was busy when I was working a full time job. When I went full time pastoring, it seemed like it just got that much busier.
Yeah.
In a good way, not in a
Oh,
bad
yeah.
way.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in a good
yeah,
way.
it's great.
And she looked at me and she said, what do you do all day? I mean, just like in that tone. And I'm sitting here thinking, you're in my living room. You're sitting and you're going to ask me like that. And
We
I'm a little,
lounge around.
I'm a
in
little
our
bit of an
chairs all
ornery
day.
person when I want to be. And it took every ounce of my being not to answer. Well, you see it.
I just prop my feet up and sit here.
Yeah. That misconception of you're just taking a vacation.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way that you can carry that burden and just like
Yeah.
and all you did was went to the zoo today. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure that's what probably people think that you all do.
Oh,
is
yeah.
just
I
go
think
around and-
some that don't know,
yeah.
yeah.
They're like, wow. I've even had that response like, oh, wow. Like, it's just the same. We just do it in different places.
Yeah.
I've had several say, how much fishing did you get done today? And I'm like, none. My license expired. I haven't even went fishing this year as much as I love to do it. I just
haven't
haven't been
either.
able to.
And I love to fish.
Right. So, it's a different type of work, but it's still work nonetheless, God, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you all with us this week. Well, through this homecoming, we recorded these 2 episodes back to back, but it has been an honor to have you all with us. And it's like I said on the pulpit there, the more that we spend time together, the more I just feel a connection with you all. And it truly has been wonderful to have you with us for this homecoming.
Well, the feeling is mutual. We feel the same way. We've enjoyed it, and I didn't want to say this even on the podcast. This is a great church. People have treated us here.
Yeah, we appreciate everything
Wonderful.
that's been
We
done.
appreciate everything that's been done for us. And the thing that I felt the Lord on this podcast is when I said to the evangelist who's from the little church, that's what stuck out to me about the whole thing. Felt like somebody might listen to this, that would help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it was our
Thanks
honor.
for taking your time. I mean, we're sitting at probably 3 hours.
Yeah. Just
Probably a little
Together.
over 3
just,
hours.
just to clue in, we're recording these 2 episodes after the homecoming service.
Yes.
We did the
Yeah.
dinner, put everything back, and then we're recording a podcast.
We're
So
sitting
that's-
here getting ready to hit
appreciate that.
record, and I'm like yawning and trying to keep my mind on it. But I will say this: I appreciate you sharing your stories, and like you talked about how this might help somebody, and that's exactly what we want. We want, we do a lot of goofy things on this show, and that's the truth. I mean, there is a lot of entertainment, you will. But there's been plenty of times that we have sat down and had a real conversation and
Yeah.
and really
Yeah.
feel God just sit down. And I hope that it comes across that same way when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget to be happy. God's people are the
Yeah.
happiest
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah.
I think we get lost in that
Mhm.
pastoring, preaching, youth
Mhm.
leading, evangelizing.
Yeah.
We are happy.
We are very happy people.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Leave us a like, leave us a comment. You can give us an email at pulpittothepew@gmail.com. Also send us a text, and tune in with us next week.
Thanks everybody.